Hello everyone, welcome back to Joy's JCfinger. Today we're going on a live tour of this royal castle. I've already uploaded the live build for it a couple of days ago, so if you want to replicate it in your town, by all means feel free to do so. I'm going to show you the surrounding areas next to the castle. I built it on this plot because of the river beside it, and that's because the actual template has a river with swans in it. Now, it's a royal building. It's also next to this massive royal castle where King Lithiu lives in my town. So it's like the royal corner. We have the pet park, and then we have the fair, and then this is the massive bunny mansion that I built around the Easter period. And then unfortunately we have the prison. We've got the concert grounds and the massive ice palace by the river. This is the boat that Cinderella and the prince took out on honeymoon, and this is the beach and my 5-star hotel, and I also have this massive spa. I have a couple of wealthy Sims who pull into the city in their yachts, and basically it's the expensive part of town across the bridge. Anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at the castle. I've chosen to build this castle on this plot because it's very pretty. I love the vines on the fence, and I found a way to incorporate the wedding part into the structure. Now, this has 4 towers to the front of it. The left and right are occupied by the king's men. They watch guard over the castle, and we have 2 towers that arise from the center part of the structure, and I've included my idea of pinnacles at the tippy top using these standing lamps. At night time it makes the building sparkle. It's quite nice. There is always the temptation to build these kind of structures sideways so you can have some width to the left and right, but I wanted to keep it authentic and have the entrance to the castle facing the beautiful front part of this plot. The 2 towers to the left and right are obviously at a different height. It means they're separate from the build. That's the only way to do it and get the different level of roofing. And I've managed to organize the brown archway windows on the 1st and 2nd floor to match. Now, this is the garden behind. I mean, you've seen some of this in the live build that I put up a couple of days ago. I still have done a little bit more to it, but you can see that the garden for the castle is somewhat separated from the part where you have the weddings. I have a green fence that is providing a beautiful green backdrop of flowers to this wedding location here. And then, of course, as I say, it separates the castle's main personal garden in here. Now, this balcony that you see here has a beautiful view of this garden, and you must have realized with this update that you can place furniture outside now. So I simply just placed those paradise seats out here because they're quite matching with the scenery, as you can see. So yeah, they sit out there and they enjoy the view and do what it is that they do. Anyway, this is the top part for a special couple. They have a private balcony that wraps around, as you can see, with the vines at the top. And I'm basically trying to replicate what I've seen in the countryside in England here. There's so much creeping vines and greenery around these castles. It makes it so beautiful and immaculate to look at when you're driving past. Yes, I didn't visit, I was driving past. Anyway, let's get inside. I'm going to introduce you to Rosemary Henchman. She's the housekeeper of this beautiful castle. She's very trusted, and she's going to take us around. She's been working with the royals for over 16 years, so in some way she's like family, but still she's an employee and a dedicated one at that. Once you come into the castle, you have a nice and lavish entrance with seating enough for at least 4 Sims. So you can imagine when you walk in, the butler seats you down and then announces your arrival. And sometimes the guests don't get past this particular part of the castle. The message is delivered and then they are escorted out. But to the left and right of this entrance also, which is like a waiting area, are 2 massive restrooms. They're a bit like outhouses, but they're not. I've blocked off all access to that restroom with these lights on either side, so you can only make use of these restrooms from within the castle. You can't just wander in from the outside. I chose to make these restrooms this size. They're quite large, they're very lavish, and I felt that it was appropriate since it's a royal castle. I love using this homestead unit as a sink. And I've done the same thing across the way here, so the only difference is the flooring, so perhaps one is for the males and one is for the females, but I really like this restroom that I've created here on either side. So the restrooms and the hallway all make up the entrance to the castle, and some people don't get past that point. After the entrance, we get into a large foyer with a grand French staircase that leads up to the rest of the castle. We have the piano in place, and the large rug that came with this wedding venue template worked out brilliantly here in the entrance. I am really pleased with that. And of course, I've placed a couple of seats here with a beautiful lamp in the middle for people to sit and wait. Maybe they're getting ready to go out and the limo's warming up, or perhaps they're just listening to the piano. Now to the right of the foyer, we have this beautiful, heavily decorated grey room. As you can see, everything in it is almost grey, and that's why it's called the grey room. I've used some of the side chests of drawers around the corners and placed all the beautiful items that I could find in the game in there. And this stick plant is from the Scandinavian collection. It was a perfect match for those seats, and the cushions have the cutest details on them. It's really lovely. I intentionally placed these doors in this way because I wanted it to be unusual, and you have to imagine that either one of the doors can swing shut and close the open archway. So yeah, that's something I felt would be nice and different in the space. So that's the grey room. We also have the white room on the other side. I'm sort of following in the footsteps of the patterning in the White House. You've got the red room, you've got the green room, and there are other colors as well. And it's just the same sort of design, same sort of layout, but different color theme. And that's what I've done here. The difference with this room is that it's got the fireplace, and that's quite nice. So maybe it's more of a popular space to sit in and discuss formally, maybe on a winter's day, because of the fireplace. And perhaps the owners of this castle would prefer to sit in the grey room on a hot summer's day, since it doesn't have a fireplace. But I don't know how grey goes with summer. Never mind. Now, beside this grand French staircase, we have two sets of double doors to the left and right of it. They could be swung open to be left open, or they could be swung open to be shut behind you. It leads into this beautiful dining room. Of course, I've made use of everything that I could find in the wedding collection, and I've chosen to use this lovely wedding table because of the proper place settings that you see on it. Now, a lot of simmers have realized that you cannot actually sit at this table and eat, but in this case, in my town, the Sims can. Basically, I've placed some white tables underneath that table, so if I click on my Sims and get them to, I don't know, roast something on the grill, they will actually come in there, sit down and eat. There's always a way around it. Eventually, Sims FreePlay will fix that issue, and hopefully the Sims will be able to sit down and eat there. This is the kitchen for the castle. I've got a chef in there who's very busy. I absolutely love the industrial units and cabinets and worktops. The plates have detail on them as well, like pink rims. It's fantastic. And there is a fridge in the corner here. It's usable. I know you've been seeing my chef walking to and fro, but you can actually use that fridge, but for some reason he keeps going downstairs to make use of the fridge in the basement. So I might as well follow him and give you a tour of the basement. The staff who work with the royal family that live in this castle basically live down here in this basement. The chef has chosen to make use of the fridge in the wine cellar, and that's his choice. This is his bedroom. It's reasonable and adequate, could do with maybe a dresser drawer. We have the laundry room in the middle here, and this is the housekeeper's bedroom as well. She also could do with a dresser drawer. They have a large bathroom in the corner here for the pair of them. And they also have a large seating area, which is good. She's come down here on her own, as you can see, but this is basically their own hangout area. You don't expect them to be in the grey room or the white room or in any other part of the royal castle. They do have a place that's adequate for them to hang out in. And that's it for the basement. So let's go back upstairs and carry on with the rest of the interesting part of the tour. This is the conservatory. Now this line of glass doors separating the conservatory from the dining room can be collapsed against the walls. That's what you have to assume. And it opens up into a really large space, converting into a massive ballroom. But for now, I've placed the dancing floor in that section anyway. And while dancing there, you can imagine with all the glass walls around it, you can see a beautiful view of the garden. I think that's a great touch to this castle. And there's a bar out back there as well. But yeah, you can imagine how big that room would be if you made it into one. There's a photo of the dancing couple on the wall, and you can see that these speakers have been placed diagonally. I think that's better than facing forward. That's what I think anyway. Now we're going to go upstairs. This is just an overview for you. So up these grand set of stairs takes us to the next level in the house. Again, we've got a line of doors, glass doors, that lead out onto a balcony so that there is a beautiful view of the garden. Everything behind has a lot of glass, so we have a view of the garden. I keep saying the same thing. But yes, these guests are having a tea party and there's a lovely cake to eat. And basically they're up here bantering away and having a chit chat about this and about that. And maybe these group of men, important men, are having a discussion about important business. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but the fact that they are up here bantering away and having a swell time on this balcony in this royal castle suggests that they are close acquaintances of the royal couple that lives here. I took the liberty of dressing them up really nicely because they are also royals. Anyway, this balcony is one of my favorites in the build simply because of the view, and it's just quite nice to have a living room space on that balcony there. Now off that balcony to the right here is a large study. I've put everything I could think of up on the walls, and the grandfather clock is in here too. I think that the more you fill up a space, the more cozy it becomes and authentic in some way, you know. And then of course I've lined up the entire wall here with the French Chateau bookshelves. I think it's a nice addition to the space as a study, and on the flip side we have it as a wall for this bedroom. I like the fact that when I move around while I'm in gameplay, I don't lose the wall, you know. There we go. And luckily it coordinates nicely with the wallpaper choice in the room, so that was quite helpful. This guest room has a large bathroom attached to it, so it's a beautiful ensuite, and you have the toilet unit itself sectioned off with a bit more privacy. And we've got some seating in here as well. It's quite lavish, and basically you can see that I used a Scandinavian furniture in here. I think it's quite beautiful. You might want to call it the Scandinavian room in the castle. Now across the way we have a much larger bedroom here, and it's one of my favorites, particularly because it doesn't look symmetrical in a way, and things are a bit all over the place, so it looks like it's lived in, and I really like that about the look. The choice of furniture, which is another collection of French furnishings, make the room quite warm, and it has a fireplace as well, just right above the other one downstairs, and again there's another above it. This is an archway that leads into a storage space of some sort. Remember, it's a castle, and so there are nice passageways into open spaces that surprise you, like this bathroom here right behind, with a good view of the garden. I think I just like the room because it's very inconsistent and realistic at the same time. Now you notice that the grey room and the white room are formal rooms downstairs, and that makes this particular living room a casual one for the family. It has a nice television in there, lovely seating, and paradise plants all around. It almost looks like a green room because on the outsides of it you have these vines all around in front of the castle. And then interestingly, I've placed a television in there. Anyway, I like the fact that they can look through either of these windows and have a view at the kingsmen who are guarding the castle. and also have a look at the lovely plants outside while they watch a favorite film. They also get to come out on this balcony if they wanted to and make a speech to the people. I think very important buildings like castles and palaces have those balconies, and I felt that this castle should have one. Now that's what we have on this floor. This spiral staircase takes us up to the last floor, which leads to the master bedroom in this house, or shall I say the master quarters altogether. It's basically like a home of its own up here, except you don't have a kitchen. This is the front door to the master bedroom. Once you come in, you see an array of seats all over surrounding the bed, and I have placed a couple of them diagonally. I couldn't resist that. It makes a complete difference to the room. Now I've placed some of these curtains here. It makes the place look very elegant, very clean, very white, and we have a number of glass partitioning doors around. One of those doors has led into this beautiful closet space for him and for her at different angles. I feel that these sets are more vintage and more classic for a castle, for a royal couple, because of the French touch to it. It's just really beautiful. You might want to place more than one for each user, but I've chosen to place just the one and a chest of drawers for him and another for her in the other corner. Now I've got the fireplace here. That's the final fireplace at the top. I really have become addicted to making these fireplaces, and once you do them, they actually work, and then to have the smoke come out at the top of the chimney is just really satisfying. Now you can see she's coming through a corridor behind the bedroom into the master bathroom. Now it's a very large space for the both of them, but the thing is I wanted to be able to fit in a double tub that they can actually have access to on either side, and then at the same time have other furnishing in the space too. This is the only way I could do it. And then they've got the mirrors on the wall, so that's the size to go with. This massive bathroom benefits from 2 toilet units separately sectioned off, one for him, one for her, with the sinks in there as well. They could have had separate bathrooms if I wanted them to, but that reminds me of the island villa that I built a while back, but I felt that these are lovebirds and they'd want to stay in the same space somehow. Now this is a massive balcony for the pair, overlooking the beautiful scenery, the garden, and the lovely river out back as well. It's a really nice part to the build, especially for the couple who live up at this level. It's a unique spot for them to really enjoy the outdoors without having to come downstairs. If you're new to the channel, do remember that there is a live build playlist where you would find a live build video for this very castle and other interesting builds that I've put out on the channel. I don't always do live builds for most of the houses that I've put out on YouTube, but with popular requests I do make an effort to do these live builds, and one is already out for this particular castle. I would have attached it to the live build as well, but that would have made for a very, very long video, over an hour. So I felt it was important to separate the videos in the manner that I have done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.